This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
This posed a very clear, colossal threat to America.
We have unleashed factors that we cannot control.
Christians opened their door for us.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
3 days of epic fury. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. The sound of an attack and impact in Bahrain, one of many of Iran's neighbor states that have felt the impact of more than 500 Iranian missiles and drones that have brought death and destruction in retaliation for the joint U.S.-Israeli attack begun early Saturday. President Trump, speaking ahead of a White House Medal of Freedom ceremony today, said it wasn't just the possibility of a nuclear-armed Iran that was concerning.
The regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas.
Trump hasn't ruled out U.S. boots on the ground in Iran as part of Operation Epic Fury, telling the New York Post U.S. troops in Iran are probably not needed, but that he would send them if necessary. The U.S. and Israel have hit thousands of targets inside the Middle Eastern country and killed its supreme leader and some 40 high-ranking members of its leadership team. Trump's point men in the attack on Iran detailed the operation this morning. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth on the war.
Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham tells Fox the U.S. has a chance to accomplish multiple goals here.
We have a chance here not only to take the mothership of terrorism down, Iran, we also have a chance to eliminate one of the most lethal proxies in the Mideast, Hezbollah.
However, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of California worries about what future fury might be unleashed by Epic Fury.
We have unleashed factors in the region now that we cannot control. If the Iranian people do rise up, as the president has called upon them to do, maybe they're successful. Maybe they get slaughtered in reliance on the president's implicit promise that we will be there to help them.
The weekend attack prompted both protests and celebrations across the nation. In Oregon, this man was with a group of Iranian Americans celebrating in the streets, saying he hopes that there will be meaningful change coming to Iran.
For my entire life, I've never been to Iran. I've been afraid of possibly going there, being seen as an American spy, and having freedom for the country is just amazing.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York says he's going to try to pass a resolution this week to enforce the War Powers Act to rein in U.S. military action against Iran. The 1973 Vietnam War-era resolution is meant to check the president's power to enter into armed conflict without consent from Congress, but the effort is largely symbolic because even if it's passed, Trump says he'd likely veto it and Congress doesn't have the votes to override it. The Middle East war has sparked security concerns back on the home front, especially after a suspected terror attack at an Austin, Texas bar on Sunday that killed 3 people. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says investigators have a lot of questions about the suspected attacker, 53-year-old Njaga Dian.
The investigation is right now is whether or not this was a lone wolf operation or whether or not there was any connection with anybody else. Who was he in contact with? Where did he get information from?
Photos show the gunman wearing a sweatshirt that said "Property of Allah" during the attack. Underneath it, a T-shirt with the Iranian flag on it. The FBI says other items in his car, including a copy of the Quran, suggest a potential link to terrorism. FBI Director Kash Patel says he's ordered federal counterterrorism and intelligence services to meet any incoming threats. And the Naval Air Station Pensacola in Florida placed on lockdown after an intruder arrived by boat this afternoon. The U.S. Naval base closed its gates after a man beached his vessel nearby and ran onto the base. Details about that intruder's identity or motives have yet to be disclosed. Christian relief agencies are already on the ground near Iran offering aid. One group is called Operation Blessing. They're stationed in Armenia, which shares a border with Iran. Spokesman Samson Richin.
To give them food, to give them medical aid, food packages, hygiene packages.
He says more than 120,000 refugees have already fled into Armenia. They're expecting tens of thousands more. Those arriving are saying the same thing. There is no help for them in Iran.
Muslim brothers and sisters, they closed their doors, but Christians opened their door for us.
The group is providing tents, hot meals, and medicine. Nearby, missionary Dr. Jacob Perlsey says, quote, "We've been planning for 6 years to go into Iran and proclaim the gospel. We now have 147,000 Bibles ready from Armenia to go into Iran, and the plan is to set up mission bases in cities and distribute the gospel there." Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, we'll have a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's issues in education.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. It's going to be a cold night tonight, not as cold as last night. Clear skies give way to increasing clouds, low temps mainly 20s. Tomorrow, cloudy with a mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, but becoming mainly rain. High temps, mid-30s to the mid-40s. On Wednesday, clouds, breaks of sun in the afternoon, and high temperatures in the 40s to near 50.
Thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. There's no escaping the impact of the events in the Middle East. New York and Pennsylvania are among many states stepping up security now at sensitive locations. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York says the state's doing what it can to keep places of worship secure.
I also want to speak directly to Iranian New Yorkers that you are safe here. We will continue to ensure that you belong here and that you feel that the state of New York is doing everything we can to protect you, and the same with Jewish communities.
Hochul says New Yorkers will feel the impact of war with Iran, from tightened security to higher gas prices. Many lawmakers, of course, weighing in on the war with Iran. Pennsylvania State Rep Jake Banta represents the 4th legislative district in the Pennsylvania House. That includes parts of Erie County.
I think the people of Iran are probably just like you and I. In fact, I've met some of them. I know a lot of Muslims from my time in the Middle East. I just think they want chance at life and opportunity. I think the regime is the problem, the people steering the ship over there.
The former Navy SEAL tells Erie News Now he agrees with the Trump administration that the #1 sponsor of world terror could never be allowed to go nuclear.
Nowhere in the world can we accept a nuclear attack. It's dangerous.
Banta was also a security specialist for the Department of Defense and the CIA. AI also on the mind of Pennsylvania's governor. Josh Shapiro setting up an AI enforcement task force. Their job, establish a reporting process for AI-powered chatbots. The governor says he downloaded a chatbot recently and asked it to talk about mental health issues.
I said, well, I'm in Pennsylvania. I would need to talk to a licensed mental health professional in Pennsylvania. And this chatbot said, I am a licensed mental health professional in Pennsylvania. Remember, this is not a person. They're not qualified to tell you what you should or shouldn't do as it relates to your mental health. And I think that it poses a real risk to students and to others across Pennsylvania.
The PA Department of State's working with the State Attorney General's office to ensure safety and efficacy when it comes to chatbots that offer so-called therapy. Well, after more than a century of history, a Williamsport, Pennsylvania church held its final service on Sunday.
Heal his heart, heal his mind, heal his body.
American Rescue Workers St. John's Reformed Church on Ross Street's been a place for baptisms, funerals, weddings, and Sunday morning worship for 140 years, starting in 1886. Doreen White telling WNEP she got her footing in that church.
They helped me tremendously to get on my feet and to get my own apartment. Got married here. It's a lot of good things, good memories here at the American Rescue Workers.
Pastor Sam Aston and his wife Dawn are retiring. Parishioner Ashley Gillespie says the church, with its vaulted ceilings and large stained glass windows, is famous in the town of Williamsport.
My mother and her parents grew up across the street from Sam, and we've been living here since I was 6, 1988, so I've been going to church here since then.
Sunday marked the final service. The building will now be put up for sale, a historic ending for a church that's had a powerful impact in Williamsport, PA. Up next, highlights from today's edition of Issues in Education.
We want to begin with a new Pew Research poll shows more than half of all U.S. teenagers are using AI chatbots to do their homework. Should this be considered cheating, in your opinion, Ralph?
No, I don't really think so, because it's just another tool that students have. In the past, you could go on Safari or Google and look up a lot of information. Students are not so much inclined anymore to go to the library or to look at textbooks. So I think as long as they understand the information may not always be reliable, and teachers have software available to them to determine whether the material is original. So there's checks and balances on the part of the teaching staff, and I think it's really a good thing.
AI companies now are urging teachers to prepare your students for the AI-driven future. What does that mean in practical terms for schools, Ralph?
Well, I think it's a good idea for schools to do that. Certainly they can do an introduction to AI, how it works. I went to a workshop on the use of AI provided by our local BOCES where I'm on the board, and I found it to be very helpful. And in fact, sometimes some of the topics that you suggest we're going to talk about, I do use AI to come up with some of the information. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing, and schools should be preparing students for it because there's lots of opportunities in the future for them when they graduate.
Well, let's dig into some of those topics you mentioned, Ralph. We'll begin in Rochester, New York, the state's third largest school district. A new initiative called Teach Rochester would actually offer loan forgiveness to attract new teachers. Are we seeing any lessening in the teacher shortage for both New York and Pennsylvania?
Not just New York and Pennsylvania, but all across the country. There continues to be this nationwide shortage of teachers, special education, all the sciences, foreign language, guidance counselors, and also in math. So it continues to be a real problem for districts.
Just down the road from Rochester, as the crow flies, Warsaw, New York, in the news a lot, unfortunately, for all the wrong reasons. This coming weekend is sectional finals in basketball in New York State, but Warsaw will not be included because not just the JV, but the varsity basketball programs canceled. Several players accused of bullying. Do you think the district there in Warsaw took appropriate action, Ralph, based on what your understanding of the story is, or do you think it was unfair to some of those student athletes who may not have been involved in this?
This is a really tough area. Obviously, I don't know the details, but this past week there was a school board meeting, and obviously the room was full with parents, some of whom said, my son wasn't involved. Why is he being punished in this? The problem is that it could be that if they suspended only the players that were involved, there might not even be enough players to field the team. So that's a concern also.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I read which really concerned me was that some of the parents said this isn't the first time this has happened with the team in terms of bullying occurring. That makes me wonder what the coaches are doing, that if there was a problem with that previously, why they would allow that to happen again.
Yeah. And then finally, we've covered a lot of New York issues. Here's one out of Pennsylvania. Lebanon County School District is being sued by a family of a 12-year-old student. Just so tragic. A 12-year-old student there who committed suicide. The parents claimed the student had been repeatedly bullied, and that's why this young child took their own life. The district is being sued because the parents say that they're legally obligated to intervene, as bullying here was discriminatory in nature. The district, of course, disagrees with this assessment, Ralph. How often does this happen that districts are sued when something like this happens, and how successful are these lawsuits usually?
It is a tragic situation. There's no doubt about that. But districts, I believe, on the whole, try to watch for that stuff and then take appropriate action. Sometimes the bullying happens in areas the school may not be aware of, but most districts, if they become aware that a student is being bullied excessively, they do take action. When the parents decide to sue districts, it's a tough nut for them to crack because obviously school districts have more money than parents do and can defend against those kind of legal action. But again, just so sad that it would come to this end for this young student.
Indeed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Dr. Ralph Kerr with our Bob Price on today's Issues in Education. You can hear all of our Family Life News original features in their entirety at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Dining out doesn't have to derail your budget or your stewardship. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. Eating out can be a gift, a chance to rest, connect, and enjoy God's provision, but only when it's done with intention. One simple step is to decide before you go how much you'll spend. A plan turns dining out from impulse into purpose. Look for small savings that add up. Share an entree, skip the drinks, or choose lunch instead of dinner when prices are lower. Many restaurants also offer loyalty programs or weekly specials, so make sure to take advantage of those when you can. Building margin at home gives you the freedom to to enjoy meals out without guilt or pressure. When dining aligns with your budget and values, it becomes an expression of gratitude, not stress. We can help you learn to manage your money according to biblical principles when you download the free FaithFi app. You'll find it on our website at faithfi.com.
Thank you, Rob. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report. The night of the eternal scoreboard horn, the ear-curdling tale after weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. A bright, cold day today, and it's a clear, chilly start to the night tonight. Clouds will be increasing. It'll be a race between the cloud coverage increasing and the eclipsed moon that will occur very late tonight, actually before sunrise tomorrow morning. A total lunar eclipse. The clouds again will increase ahead of the next disturbance that'll bring us rain and or a wintry mix tomorrow, but it's part of a process that will see warmer air in the days ahead. It's going to be a cold night tonight, not as cold as last night. Clear skies give way to increasing clouds, low temps mainly 20s. Tomorrow cloudy with a mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. They're becoming mainly rain. High temps, mid-30s to the mid-40s. On Wednesday, clouds, breaks of sun in the afternoon, and high temperatures in the 40s to near 50.
Thank you, Kevin. Finally, at 5, basketball players are coached to play hard until the final horn sounds. But at an NBA game between the Cavaliers and Pistons in Detroit on Friday, they found themselves, well, on the horns of a dilemma. A power surge during the third quarter caused a scoreboard malfunction that triggered the horn, which proceeded to then blare for 18 minutes straight, while players and fans covered their ears and technicians scrambled for a fix. Just like a wonky computer, it was eventually decided, let's try rebooting the thing, and the blaring horn was finally silenced.
And the crowd goes wild. There you go. The horn is stopped, and the fans applaud. I was kind of hoping to see somebody repel, a la Tom Cruise, to fix the issue. Seriously.
However, at first, play resumed without the main scoreboard working, and, well, apparently you can't play pro basketball without a horn, so they improvised with a small handheld substitute.
Well, there's the air horn. I'm sure that's a noise people will be fond of as well.
Well, mercifully, a short time later, the main scoreboard sorted itself out and the regular horn behaved itself the rest of the way, Detroit rewarding its sonically abused fans in Little Caesars Arena with an overtime win. And that's the final horn for us for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.